has been talking about it the whole of last year. So I wanted to really sit behind the scenes and watch and learn a lot. But Uncle Ban the Mighty meeting him, Cassandra sitting him.
But Ebano, how we're going to get some information and also to overcome it. There's none other than one amazing one amazing doctor. He's a medical doctor as well as a psychologist, Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur. Ebano, suicidal. Suicide is now on the rise. I think sometime last week I was on social media and I mean who so Beatrice say na down for be committed suicide because the school fees and Kolani school fees. And then it is easy for you to say, na school fees there, that kind of thing. And sometimes those are the triggers. Say obi have suicidal thoughts, obi distancing no from nkofo e de be na wo be ya wo de be hunu say maybe I said nkoye and I say because some people sometimes after the act has happened, Becca said, I knew it, I saw it, but no, But today, I believe after the conversation, and then we'll all be on the same page and, at least know what to do, know the triggers, know how to help. And as a community, when it happens, what do we do? Dr. Arthur Yamawakwaba.
Welcome.
Lovely to always have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you for the, the gift of your presence, let me put it that way, and your knowledge, which is very, very in-depth.
And then the issue the papa. I said to us, Mama, I wanted to sit back and just watch and observe and also absorb some knowledge regarding this particular issue. Recently, last year, there was someone that I respected, who was one of the big stars in South Africa. He committed suicide. He woke up one day and I was wondering that this is one person that is living a lavish life, the BBR could find, everything was social media, everything is going on. And the next day, you wake up, what triggered that? And Cassandra was really speaking about this the whole of last year. You were so much into it. And in the end, what be discussed every day, I was like really happy to listen because a man who be break through a lot. Mutalaka I didn't know as a human being, though he has problems, he hasn't thought of taking his life. What will actually make people take their life in the first place?
Yeah, first of all, when we say someone is we usually don't use the term committed suicide. Because when you say committed suicide, then it's like, what do you call it? You make it look like a crime.
Criminal.
You see, we say died by suicide.
Okay.
Oh, death by suicide.
Death by suicide, or
okay.
the person died by suicide. Because it's one of the ways they die.
Yes.
So someone died by diabetes, complications of diabetes or something.
Okay.
Died by stroke. So that is the normal thing. And the reason is that our understanding of what causes suicide over the years has improved.
Okay.
The way I get in your about suicide is become better. And that is why, even I think last week when Parliament decided to decriminalize attempted suicide, we were very, very excited because we've actually talked about this many years. And thankfully, it's come back. So the issues around why someone decides to attempt or even die by suicide is very, very complex. Very, very complex. Usually we oversimplify things.
Okay.
And because of that oversimplification, we tend to blame the person.
Yes.
Or we tend to moralize, or sometimes you feel the person is weak.
Yeah.
And that is why they are doing that. But it's very complex. So let me just list why people commit suicide. There are people who have an increased risk of, what do you call it, of suicide. They have increased risk because of some genetic problems.
Okay.
Wow.
So it can be genetic.
Genetic problems with certain parts of their brain and some of the neurochemicals that is responsible for how we interact with the environment, right? So even when you look at someone who has suicidal tendencies, when you even scan their brains, you notice some difference.
Sir? Wow.
Yeah, so those people have an increased risk of wanting to kill themselves. Because all of us go through stuff. Why does someone become so preoccupied with killing themselves? And then,
All right. Dr. Mpachomeba, yencha yensimaka kribi yeba, then yatwaso. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to continue.
Is it all right?
you have to start. You have to repeat what I
To be back. If you just tuned in, we'll share the Max Morning Show, and this segment is the Max Agenda. And how we can overcome suicide. So when you be with fear, na say, or have those thoughts, and I say they are coming close to, dying by suicide or attempting to die by suicide. What are the signs? Dear Ben, now will be to me who say, I pay, I say, or ten and fee, yen I say, na dog can say, yen casa commit suicide because ye can sana, not I had to say a criminal, we say death by suicide, which is one other form of death, and that is at least is one correction or the amaye and anape, so that next time yes we say yen say or committee suicide, I was so kind of say the person died by suicide. But just before we went on that quick break, Doc say the one of the ways and for that brings about death by suicide a genetic, which is something I believe most of us didn't know. Doc Patrick Twaso.
Yeah, our genes are responsible for everything. For example, the way you look, right? Your eye, your skin, your everything. And there are also chemicals in the body that is responsible for everything. For example, if someone hugs you, it feels good because there is a chemical released.
Okay.
Oxytocin. You see, if someone is under pressure, the body helps you. And you're able to do that because there are some chemicals in your body responsible for that. And there is a whole system that is responsible for how you see the world and interact with the world. And your brain, the nervous system, very important. Your brain is part, your spinal cord, and all the nerves. And all these, there are all kinds of chemicals that the body uses to transmit information, process information, and to respond to information. Your genetic problems can affect these systems such that you meet a situation, how to do it, what to do. So someone who is consistently or has these suicidal thoughts near them, some of them have these problems with all these communication systems and the part of the brain that is responsible for decision making. Okay. You can't tell someone get over it. If it was that easy, in Kanyipa Krono,
what get you over it?
So there's some people, so first we have suicidal ideation where, those ideas start coming to mind. Then we have suicidal thoughts when it's like your thinking is overtaken by suicide.
You're saying that you can't tell someone to get over it. What would be the right word to actually deal with it?
So when you say get over it, you make it sound easy.
I say she, you know.
As say easy, and the easy anchor, the person would have gotten over it.
Okay.
So the right word would be what? Deal with it.
No, not deal with it. What I mean is that don't say that.
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, we need to find out why. And we shouldn't trivialize people's experiences.
Okay.
And ABA, for example, someone fails an exam. You say, an exam, I will get over it. No. For you, because of who you are, how you are,
it's
easy. Inka also assemble for to what? Inka ebe on any day no.
Yeah, exams.
Yeah, important. Okay. Yours may be something else. So suicidal like this, suicidal thoughts, when those thoughts become plenty, it's like you can't get over. Then contemplation. When now people contemplate that they want to do it, then they attempt. Then they die by suicide. You know, so that is also some genetic risk. Then again, too, what it means is that we know that majority of the people who attempt suicide or die by suicide, they have some underlying mental health problem.
Okay.
About 98%.
A mental problem. Okay.
Majority of them have depression, about 80%.
Okay.
But other mental health issues also like bipolar, substance use problems, and I say, schizophrenia or some stressful related problems. So they have a mental health issue. And that is why criminalizing that attempt
it's unfair.
It's just like someone over a heart attack. Now it's your uncle prison. It's an emergency. For us too in mental health, our emergency is attempted suicide.
Attempting of suicide, Matthias.
That is our emergency.
Okay.
In two can't or your heart attack or prison. Because need now a health problem. They are all health issues that requires professional help.
Wow.
Then also, now the social issues and the problems becomes the trigger to an underlying problem.
Okay.
And he said, for example, someone has a risk for something, maybe depression, anxiety, whatever, or the person has depression, whatever. Now the marital problem compounds it. Because someone may go through the same marital problem and may smile. And may move on. Suicide may not even come to the person's mind. But those issues, financial problems, relationship issues, academic issues, father-related issues like abuse near their parents who don't get time for their kids, they are not, attending to them well. There's always confusion at home. You hate your child. You prefer one child over the other. All those things, social issues, becomes an added thing, a trigger.
Added thing that triggers.
A trigger, for those kind of behaviors.
Okay. So, Doc, if I'm understanding you, you kind of say, Ebano, what brings about this suicidal thoughts? And I said the attempt of suicide. And I say a person dying by suicide, 98%. About 98% of the time, the Nipan one underlining problem.
There's a mental health
Antisocial issues, no be compound.
All those issues worsen a person's state.
So it means that it's not something that we can just forgo. It is something that is present. It's something that
it's just like someone having hypertension, or someone having diabetes, or having stroke, or malaria, or something. It's an illness.
It's an illness.
Yes, you have a problem, and that problem is under mental health.
Needs to be managed or dealt with.
Yes.
Now, going into the management of it, and I said the dealing with the problem, just like you related it to, say, Obi diabetes, Obi and also a yare. It is Obi or diabetes. I'm sure said there are signs. To me do say ni pay as a phone and as say na say nipa ne ben wa to make say as we near yes as we near say koko hospital no so no e de ben na ye be e de ben signs na ye betumi de hu say as me be depression kakra wo mu and say problem kakra wo ho, because the honest truth is because ye hu yet no won shede hu say nipa no wo problem kwan ben so na oni nipa bi ti fie na say or show signs of depression and any mental ubetumi picking quickly.
Yes, so because we are talking about suicide, where some of the things you should look out for, about 4 out of 5 suicidal problems, usually you will know that something like that is likely.
Okay.
if you are paying attention. But there are some too you will never know. Like, for example, this gentleman, you talked about South African. Everybody thinks everything is fine. Then suddenly, pam, they are gone. And so for those people, it may be hard. So it's not every ubia or attempted suicide bia and abia obi. But majority of them, if you are paying attention, ubi. So the first thing is that anybody is a candidate for suicide.
Hey, wow.
Anybody. So it doesn't matter who the person is. The person may be...
Including
anybody.
all of us.
Anybody is a candidate.
Okay.
What it means is that you need to have a high index of suspicion that nipa kra meaning wofi is likely so odwen ho but meaning. So anybody. 2, anybody who is going through any challenges in life is likely they are thinking about suicide. In Tibia only will be tea. Ya saking if you know. And I say on your marital problems. And I say we fail an exams. Or something has happened to the person. That alone may be the sign.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is everyone who is going through
it's
any
possible.
problem.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible the person
Okay.
and I say you see someone what TBB about the person, or it can even be shame.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll call a mistake B. It will dream and B. Abba. Maybe I'm not expecting because maybe any need the whole crap. You know, so anybody who is going through something or is facing any challenge, it is possible.
It's possible.
And that is why when people are going through stuff, you don't laugh at them, you don't dismiss them, you pay attention.
Yeah.
Because when you pay attention and you're supporting the person, regardless of what the situation is, even if the person is wrong,
it's wrong.
You know, so far as asema tunidie, you know, you should know that it's possible.
Yeah.
Then again, to people, people may change in a person's life. Okay. So, for example, the person is very, very lively. Suddenly, the person is quiet. The person is always, joking around, spending time with people. The person is now socially withdrawn. You know, now I say, maybe as a sound, what is happening? It's possible the person is thinking about suicide. Then again, to people would express it in various ways. They may express it through writing. Now, because of social media, it's so easy. When you watch someone's status, when someone's post on social media, they would always find subtle ways of talking. Sometimes you think, they're advising people or they are or memes or something. But usually, even when people are advising people on social media, it's as a result of some experience they've gone through. You know, so, and people's posts reflect whatever is happening to them.
It's true.
So you may pay attention to some posts. Then again, people may actually write to specific people who they feel must understand or must be around or must pay attention or must apologize, must something. So they may actually write to maybe a parent or express some kind of, concern about something to something.
Yes.
And they have a way of writing. Then also they may verbalize it. Someone will tell you, I say, me need you. I say, me feel it. Yes, people say,
yes.
And sometimes for us and for all those subtle things. Then again some people may even have some diagnosed mental problem that you may know. It may be on what we say way or faint roof for some mental health problem. Maybe bipolar or something. Or depression or anxiety, something, panic attacks. Like yesterday, for example, I had a call, someone having panic attacks. Decided to take Nindrona, the man for anxiety near there, or for 14, back 14, and I afraid. So the person may have some diagnosed problems. Then maybe I would also add that anybody who has attempted suicide before or has spoken to you about the fact that why YBB to kill themselves before, it's a sign that they are planning the next one.
Oh, wow.
Because your risk for, attempting suicide goes up if you have a history of attempting suicide.
What tried
that? How then do we get to a stage whereby all of us are aware? Because Ms. Mekan is a 98%, that's a high percentage. How then do we all get to a state that we are all, we are all victims?
I think we should just pay. We should just pay attention.
We should just pay attention.
We should just pay attention to ourselves and people. The way we pay attention to people when they die. Suddenly, you'll be shocked the number of people in the person's life. Obi may struggle to pay their fees. They will struggle, friend relatives, everybody giving an excuse. The moment that person, because they watching in school, the moment say Obi will pay, you'll be shocked the number of people who show up. Sometimes I get surprised that this woman who died, you said died, by suicide.
Yes.
In school, something.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's tried to reach out to a lot of people. Nobody. But in the 1 week, you'll be shocked the number of people who show up.
So couldn't she have reached out for some strength within to say, listen, okay, I can't afford to pay my children's school fees, but I will live.
Well, it doesn't come easy. That's why I'm saying that people don't want to die. And when they come to that point, it means that they are overstretched. They've employed all their coping strategies, tried several things. Because nobody wants to die.
Yeah.
If right now, this station, we hear that there's someone that have a gun somewhere,
we will all run.
I'm sure the three of us will lock the door. Shift all the TV and camera to block the door. Nobody wants to die. Nobody. So if someone comes to the point where they prefer death over life,
they feel hopeless.
Then there's some hopelessness, there's some worthlessness, there's some, they've tried several things, it's not working. And at the time that they are attempting suicide, there is something we call, what do you call it? I've forgotten this term. It's like their brain freezes.
Okay.
And refuses to think about
any
other
other thing. Matthias here. Okay.
There's a term for it just slipped. It's like their brain just freezes.
That means it doesn't mean that the brain has overworked itself.
It's like I dem abre. Na etina computer chi. Na edwin on. It's like you want to work on a project. And ideally, in your normal, usual, that you could have easily done it.
Yeah.
The same thing, maybe even on this show. It's not every day that you come that you're excited to be here. Sometimes you come and you are all over the place, you're excited. At some point, you come and your normal lines in
It's true.
Because emotionally or psychologically, it's like you are not there.
It's true.
It's like you're not yourself. And what you are enjoying. That is it. And think about someone who is at that peak of that state. Where they are frozen. And it's like they just cannot think about
other things. Doc, now that we have touched on the signs, say uni obi wo ho, we a bit of maybe I say you bubbly nanso nanse ase wo koile ne ho na watopom mu ondidi mo wadamfo bi afide mo friend na onfa. Meanwhile, maybe she was the life of the party. Afide all of a sudden onfa obi a phone watoto ne pumu. Like who pick up a few of these signs na ebia wunnim se nipa no mpo underlying condition bia, but then what pick signs enye what should be the first thing you do in terms of niawobeka, how you behave around nipano?
There's something we call compassionate presence. Compassionate presence is when you are there and you are there with the person. What it means that you are empathizing with the person, you are listening to the person. Your presence is more reassuring for the person. So that's the first thing you do. Sometimes when people are going through problems, they need a presence, not advice. Your words is a nuisance.
Most often we tend to become
when you are grieving over something, sometimes, I think when my daddy passed, then I understood what grieving means. People come and they are calling you, and genuinely they want to encourage you, but you don't want to hear. You just want someone to be there.
Yes.
So being there, empathizing with the person, genuinely providing that presence and support, makes people feel that, at least there's someone who cares about me.
Okay.
What if they do care, but you read it differently? Like as I said, someone are calling you, they want to talk with you. That is also being there. But what is that main?
So there's a place for talking, but the assurance that you are there is more reassuring than just saying words. Because sometimes people just say words and they don't mean it. It's like, it's okay, baby. But when you're really going through stuff, you really want someone to be there.
To be there.
And that is why usually when you have problems, you go to someone who is there.
Ampa.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, you will go to someone who you know genuinely loves and cares and is there.
There's someone who can provide assistance.
Yes, the person who genuinely
financially.
Yeah, the person genuinely cares. Even you see, when you even need money, the first person you go to is the person who cares about it, not the one who can provide.
Yeah.
And when the person who is there cannot provide, then you tend to look for other people who you think will give you something.
Okay.
So being there, because we're all social beings and we really want relationships.
Yeah.
We want something that is more reassuring, more sustainable than something which is very, very transient. So be there for the person. Then the talking and stuff can come up where you reassure the person with your words.
Yeah.
You know, that one too helps.
Okay.
Then the next thing too you do is to find practical solutions to the person's problem.
Okay.
So imagine you are here and suddenly you hear crack and you know it's a Momo alert. You know, you are in a hurry for this show to end, to go and check. You know, yeah. So practical solutions is reassuring than just words. So first is your presence, next is words, next one is to find practical solutions. So if you know what is causing the problems, you try and alleviate whatever problem that is there. You know, so if it's financial, you may have to help the person. If it's marital, you may have to take steps to resolve the marital problem. If it's academic issues, you need to take steps. So practical solutions to the problem. Then the next one is to seek help for the person. And attempted suicide is a health issue. So a health professional must
be present, Matthias.
So whatever you are doing, do. But in addition to that, seek help for the person. Because the professional is the one who is likely to go into the nitty-gritties of the whole thing and go to the root cause and be able to deal with it. It's just like someone having a heart attack and say, I will deal with it at home. You can't deal with heart attack at home.
You can't deal with it at home.
So what you may do is to carry the person to the hospital.
It's true.
Then the professionals take over.
Absolutely.
And we said because there may be some underlying mental health problem, usually mental health professionals are the ones who deal with it.
Okay. For people who are surrounded with people who don't actually care, there are families whereby a more if you had the leadership being here, penny being here, for someone who is dealing with this, problem, how does the person go about it? He's surrounded by people who don't care. Mamina on combat, Papa Neswa. From you are in an environment whereby there seems to be no way out, and you're dealing with this suicidal thought. How then do you come out of such?
Yeah, so the person may also decide to go seek help if nobody takes you. You walk in the same way if you are unwell, malaria, you just walk in the hospital and say, I need help. That's how easy it can be. So you yourself may have to go to the hospital. And seek for help, right? The same way you go when you have some headache or whatever, just walk into the hospital. Then again, the individuals would have to develop some coping strategies to handle various life issues, and those coping strategies, I think I've mentioned several of them in this show. There are things that you do that make you mentally resilient, such that situations do not overpower you. And usually mental health professionals, regardless of what we do in therapy, we also teach you some coping skills as a person to be able to handle problems. Usually, sometimes it's not the problem that is the problem. It's you not knowing what to do with the problem.
Okay.
That is the problem. So someone is having a financial problem, not because they don't have money, but because they don't know how to make money.
And now mismanagement of the funds.
Yes. So if you teach the person how to make money or manage their finances, finance will become a problem again. So usually it may not be the problem itself.
Yeah.
It may be the fact that the person doesn't know how to deal with the problem. So in therapy, we assess all that and to help you be able to pick up why these
Alex
things happen.
did say the whole of last year, I spoke a lot about mental health, and that's because I realized in our part of the world, you found mental health chara, and those words, oh, get over it, oh, I don't want bema, oh, I don't want to all of these things.
The common one in Ghana, you'll be fine.
It is well.
It is well. Yeah, you'll be fine, and it is well.
And so I'm happy to say you talked about, professional help, because it told be someone has been raped. Obi to me Lucy, ni mamne ni papa, and that's any bibia in one day. And that is a very, very heavy thing on the person. And apart from it is well near, I'm happy say now we are bringing that conversation. Now, say, Bibi says here, the person needs prayer. Prayer need dear, ampa, yes, spiritual side need dear, kunjaho. However, the person needs a professional to be able to help the person cope and go through the rest of the day. I'm super excited. Now, Doc, for Obi Otifie, I'm sure so Obi Shea, what dream I plan ways. How? We're finding different ways. But who's a way? A bear way and ya. Sorry that I'm laughing. This is not a laughing matter. Way a bear ya way and ya. Hey, and I'm what are some of the things that we can tell that person right now to be able to draw the person out?
Yeah. So, the fact that you feel that way doesn't mean you are weak or you are not spiritual. You are just unwell. It's just like telling someone who has malaria that you are weak. No. And so you would have to acknowledge that you have a problem and there is help for you. Some people come and see me and say, so why did I want to kill myself? Like, you understand? People
is it after you've taken
after so why did I want to kill myself? They now realize that no, I wasn't well and I needed help.
Yes.
So we all need help. I remember once, I think that I was at Legon or so. And actually, I was going through some emotional problems here and there. My parents actually didn't know. And usually, parents don't know a lot about their kids. I remember I was walking around BAM Library and I was thinking about suicide. Yes, I remember. That was many years ago. I think it was around 2004, thereabout. 2003, 2004, thereabout. And people didn't know. I'm very, very active on campus. Very, very active. On campus, people knew me, because I talk a lot about things. So around BAM Library, so it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Sometimes all of us, regardless of you, it comes to a point where you realize that, no, if I die, it's better. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so if you are feeling that way, know that a lot more may be feeling that way. Just that a lot more have overcome it because they sought help.
I like that.
Or they took certain steps to be able to deal with that. If I died at that time,
we would have lost one of the best psychologists.
One of the best minds.
Life is good though.
Life is good.
Yeah, so it's just you are in a phase of your life where you're having difficulties. You just get to the hospital. Yeah, it's that easy. And now, thankfully, because of government's kind of interventions, right from then, mental health has progressed over the years. So various governments have done well. This government has also done well in terms of access to mental health care and all those things. So now it's so easy to get to see a mental health professional. Than it's easier than before.
Okay.
So walk into any hospital.
I like that.
And just say, I think I need help.
I like
so
that.
admission is like one of the first.
No, we may not admit. First of all, we may have to assess what the issues are.
No, but I have to admit that I have a problem.
Yes. Just walk. The moment you feel suicide, just walk into a hospital and tell them that, I have this problem. If it's likely they have someone there who is a mental health worker. Even if they don't have, they know where to
They'll find you someone.
Yes, it's that easy. So walk into any clinic, whether private or government, just walk there. say that you have this problem, and they are likely to find help for you.
Dr. Isaac
Fantastic.
Newman Arthur, clinical psychologist and a medical doctor, with us this morning discussing some of the most important, and I'll use the word crucial, issues that we're dealing with when it comes to mental health, especially dealing with suicide. Nyamisha Bibi, thank you so
very
much
for passing through. Always an honor having you.
I forgot to say, I'm the PRO for Ghana Psychological Association.
Psychological Association.
I think
Very important.
Ghana Psychological Association has been doing well. People don't even know that there's Ghana Psychological Association. So we are made up of all kinds of psychologists, counselors, and all and we have different types of psychologists too. Clinical psychologists, counseling psychologists, industrial, organizational psychologists. There are all kinds of psychologists.
All kinds of psychologists.
Counselors around. So
there's
help.
I think the way you're coming out now is bringing the awareness. After the yes, you say, me feel it, Charlie. My thoughts these days, and you can just, it's just as simple. Oh, and it's a nano bia, oh, yes, oh, Dr. Arthur, no, bia say, no, call him for Debbie. Right now, the awareness is there.
No, Obi say, or call him for
okay.
Our problems,
All right, thank you so very much.